All right, everybody, we're back. I had to make a party out of it. It is Super Bowl Sunday. It's the last episode of the season. It can't believe how fast this went by, Maddie. We're here at Super Bowl Sunday. Crazy time.
Yeah, and our special guest today, JJ Watt, is coming on the show. No, joking. In maybe 10 years' time, hopefully.
How great would that be?
10 years' time. But yeah, guys, it is the Super Bowl, and how excited are we to be at this point in the season? It is our final episode of the season. Thank you for sticking through another season with the Yankee and the Brit J, and two teams that we didn't see that were going to be here. And I don't think anybody saw we're going to be here at the start of the season outside of Patriots fans and Seahawks fans. And I don't even think they thought they were going to be here. So it is going to be a great Super Bowl. I think a really good matchup here. As I've been going through the potential matchups that we have across the board, these are two teams that are really matched up. And I feel a lot of excitement for this one.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting game. A lot of people invested in this game, and it's not even their team. You got Mike, you got Vrabel, you got Drake Maye, you got McDonald, you got Darnold. Like, there are storylines up and down. This is going to be a great game. And so a lot of the TV people go with the Seahawks, but I see a lot online. It's really 50-50 in a lot of these groups. I would say it's probably slightly to the Seahawks because some of the groups have the Seahawks, but most of them, when they're in those polls, it's really 50-50. So it's really kind of neat to see where the fans land on this one.
Yeah, and I think with the betting stuff, it's been 4.5 now, consistently all week. It's been 4.5 in the Seahawks' favor really since it opened. So the money's not really moving that betting line a lot, which means that people are betting on both sides of this 4.5 line, and it feels like a good line to be set. I feel way more comfortable at like 3, 2.5, like 4.5 feels like a bit on a Super Bowl game with two really closely matched teams, as we've already said, and two really closely matched coaching staffs as well. But let's get into this game, Jay, and let's break it down piece by piece. The Seahawks are 4.5-point favorites up against the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. And Jay, the first person I want to come to is NFL MVP snub Drake Maye. How does his poor postseason offensive stats worry Patriots fans? Should it worry Patriots fans? Because in the postseason, his stat sheet hasn't been great. In the last game that they played, he had the lowest amount of passing yards that any quarterback has had during the postseason in the Super Bowl era, with only 98 passing yards. How does that worry a team like the Patriots going into this game against the Seahawks?
I don't think it worries him at all. Okay, so throw Denver's game out because the second half was a fucking blizzard. Nobody was throwing the ball anywhere, right? He got bad stats against the Texans, but put up a ton of touchdowns. Like, I mean, what are we talking about? Completion percentage isn't bad. Like, I don't care about the total yards. I want to see what's your completion percentage, touchdowns matter, and what's your third down percentage? Right? Like, that's the kind of things that matter when it comes to playing quarterback. 300 yards is great. 400 yards is great. If you give me 170 yards and 4 touchdowns, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, and he's played up against maybe this is one of the hardest defensive runs that anybody has had to play against to get into a Super Bowl. You know, it was the Texans, it was the Broncos, as well. And not only was he playing the Broncos in a blizzard, it was the Broncos being one of the best defensive teams in the NFL as well. You then have the Texans, you then have the Jags to get here, who were ranked one of the highest defensive teams in the AFC coming into the playoffs as well. They take the ball away loads. And what they build it on, and what these good teams build it on, and what the NFL has been moving more and more towards is this complementary football. It's not just down to your quarterback throwing for 400 yards, 500 yards. It's how much can you run the ball to actually just beat the clock, and then how much does your quarterback lead to you beating a team? And in those big moments, Drake Maye has stood up. In that Texans game, Jay, as you so rightly point out, he threw 3 touchdowns. That's more touchdowns than any quarterback has thrown in a game against the Texans all season. That's how good they are defensively. So I don't think that they should be worried about Drake Maye. However, Jay, it is a question to put in there, you know, coming up onto a big stage against a Seattle team that is really great. I would like to see a big performance from Drake Maye in this game. And I wonder if we're going to see it.
See, I'd rather see a big performance by their running game.
Yeah, exactly. Like get that running game out there. Get Trayvon Henderson, who got snubbed for offensive rookie of the year as well. And we'll talk more about NFL awards, guys, at the kind of next part of the show. But with Trayvon Henderson out there, I want to see that complementary football coming to the Patriots and up against this Seahawks defense, who are the Seahawks defense isn't like top tier, isn't top tier that Texans, Cleveland, Denver trio at the top, but it's top 5 in basically every metric. So it's great in the run game, it's great in the pass game, it's great at getting to the quarterback. It has good turnover numbers. This Seahawks team is really great. And how do you think Josh McDaniels kind of schemes open that run game for the Patriots to use and leads to Drake Maye not having to carry this team in the Super Bowl?
Do you mean the offensive assistant coach of the or the assistant coach of the year? I mean, I think that says it.
Assistant coach of the year. Yeah.
I think he should have won. He won it. Josh McDaniel question. What'd you say?
Yeah, sorry, Jay, I didn't say anything. I think you're breaking, there's a bit of a breakup on.
You cut out on me.
Your end. Okay, go. We're back. We're back now.
Oh.
I haven't said anything.
I was just saying we've never questioned him being a great offensive coordinator. We question him as a head coach. He is one of the greatest offensive coordinators in the history of football. We watched what he did with Brady. People can say what they want. Tim Tebow was ass, and he still went to the playoffs and won a playoff game with Tim Tebow, right? Like, the guy can coach. But I think what he does best is he takes, and this is the Bill Belichick system, is that there's not really a system. You look at the team you're playing, you figure out how to attack their weaknesses, you use your strengths, and you win the game that way. And that's what Josh McDaniels does. Josh McDaniels is a genius at figuring out where the weaknesses on another team is and exploiting that and putting your quarterback in a great position. The only thing is to be in that system, you have to be an intelligent quarterback, which we've seen from Drake Maye. I think Josh McDaniels has done a great job and doesn't get enough credit for how well the Patriots have done this season.
Yeah, and I mean, he comes out with the offensive coordinator of the year, but not enough credit from the media and the fan base as well, assistant coach, because it's offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators as well. And I agree with you. I think he has been great. I just wonder where the Patriots can attack this Seahawks defense. I would suggest they don't have a clear weakness. And then it's about, okay, this team doesn't have a clear weakness. So what we do is we play our best ball. And I think the Patriots' best chance of getting that run game is getting that ball out into space with Trayvon Henderson. Trayvon Henderson is completely electric. I would say make sure you have someone covering Nico Mumwari at all times. Every time you try and do a short pass to get Trayvon Henderson in space, to get Stephon Diggs in space, make sure Nico Mumwari can't get to them because he's a great tackler. He's a great tackler and can line up across the field as well. So I think their entire game plan is based on getting these guys into space and getting those yardage plays as well. And just getting those yards after the catch plays, which is going to be really important against a Seahawks defense with, I would say, without really a weakness. It doesn't do anything like incredibly well, but there isn't a weakness either. And then Jay, on the other side of the ball, we also have a really important run game going on for the Seattle Seahawks. I think it is the most important thing for them to be able to establish some sort of run. But this New England Patriots defense just completely stifles the run with Milton Williams in the defensive tackle spot. They completely stifle the run. What can the Seahawks do to overcome this Patriots stifling run defense? Because they're going to have to get some semblance of a run going.
It's going to be the short pass game. That has to be the key to getting a run game against the Patriots, because that interior of the defensive line for the Patriots has been really great since Milton has come back. And again, I always forget the other fucking tackle. Every time we do a show, I forget the other tackle. But anyway, yeah, there you go. And it becomes troubling too is when you're the Seahawks, I know everybody's on this, like, what can the Patriots do? What can the Patriots do in different situations? I keep thinking to myself, what's Seattle going to do? Because I think the Patriots defense matches up great against Seattle's offense. So I think not only does it make the run game be a problem because the Patriots know how to stop the run. You got Jaxson, Smith-Njigba, who's amazing, but you got the best corner in the league on him in Gonzales. I think this is a great matchup on both sides. I think we're going to see a slugfest. I think every mistake is going to be highlighted in this game.
Yeah, I really agree with you, Jay. And I feel like you can't where the Broncos really went wrong 2 weeks ago is not necessarily in Jared Stidham's play, although that wasn't great, but we didn't expect that from Stidham. Where they didn't give him any assistance was they kept on running RJ Harvey up the middle. One, that's not RJ Harvey's game, really. He should have been getting out into space. But two, against this Patriots team, you do not run it up the middle. Like, you have to break to the edge. And the Seahawks have one of the rookie offensive linemen of the year in Greg Zabel there as well. He was in the running for offensive rookie of the year, playing at guard. But he played in tackle at college, so you can do a lot of work pulling Greg Zabel out into those wide open spaces as well, and get him out into those wide open spaces. But I agree, you've got to run away from that defensive tackle point. And Jay, really, can the Seahawks do that with the weapons that they've got in Kenneth Walker? Because Charbonnet is out. What do you make of Kenneth Walker as a running back? Because I have some people arguing for him to be in the top 10, but I have some people arguing him as low as top 20. So where is Kenneth Walker for you in this running back conversation?
I mean, he's a good running back. I like him. I don't know where exactly you put. I know that he's one of those guys, if I'm on the defense, I want to keep my eyes on, because if you let him get the opportunity, he's going to take that opportunity. So he's a guy that you really have to watch and you have to worry about when it comes to the running game.
Yeah, I agree. But I wouldn't say he's like kind of a game breaker, a running back, in the way that he may need to be in this game against the Patriots run game. They need someone who...
I think he's a game changer, not a game breaker.
Yeah, like he's...
Oh, sorry, we got a lag. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. He's like good enough. He comes up with like good spots in games. Like he comes up with big plays. Like you see him making big plays regularly. But how often can he make those big plays? And when he's not making those big plays, does he get you those extra yards? Does he fight for those extra yards? I think that could be a potential mismatch in that Seahawks run game versus the Patriots defensive run game.
And that's why I called him a game changer, not a game breaker, right? He has plays, changed field position, changes the game for them. I think in this type of game, though, you don't need a ton. Like I think this comes down to a few plays that get highlighted at the end of the game, which isn't fair for the teams. But as people who go over the games and look at it, we're going to look back, I think, at 4 or 5 plays in this game and be like, for good or bad, better or worse, this changed the outcome of the game.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree with that. I think this is going to be a close one. It feels like a close one. And Jay, I feel like one of the key matchups that isn't getting spoken about a lot is that Seattle Seahawks defensive line. I think the Seattle Seahawks defensive line has gone really unnoticed throughout the season, but D-Law coming over from Dallas this season, I think is I thought he was great in Dallas. I was surprised when the Cowboys let him go, but I think he's really kind of set himself up as a number one D-end for a team again. And he's been really great. How does rookie Will Campbell and that side of the Patriots offensive line kind of hold up against the Seahawks defensive line? Because the Patriots offensive line at points have not given Drake Maye any time to throw. And if that's going to happen, then Drake Maye has shown an ability to force a throw here and there, and turnovers could really, with how close things are going to be, really change this game. Sacks and turnovers.
Well, the offensive line has got better as the year went on. Bradbury figured out that system. The inside of the line is actually stronger than the tackles, which is weird. But that's good because it's easier for a quarterback to deal with pressure from the sides than it is up the middle. but the Patriots have just got better and better, and the way they scheme things. And I don't think people put enough credit into the fact that this is Josh McDaniel's 10th Super Bowl. This is Vrabel's 5th Super Bowl. Like, they know how this works. They understand the pressure. They understand the game. They understand how to call the game, how to keep their players in the right mindset. Like, I think that's a big thing that nobody's talking about is between Vrabel and McDaniels, not including this year, that's 13 years, or that's 13 Super Bowls of experience together they have.
Yeah, and I think like a serious thing to consider going into this Super Bowl is Vrabel is an offensive line guy as well, and he'll be able to talk to Will Campbell, who's obviously a rookie, and obviously Josh McDaniel can talk to Drake Maye as well, being a second-year guy, first Super Bowl as well, and kind of guide them through that kind of stuff. I will be interested to see how the defensive line kind of can put the pressure on the rookie tackle as well, because it is easier to deal with pressure from the side, but it's still tough.
Don't you just think to deal with a tough defensive line, you just get the ball out quick, and it neutralizes a lot of that pass rush? I have to feel like if they feel like Seattle's starting to get there, that McDaniels will switch it up, go to a short passing game, that sort of thing. But I think they're going to rely on the run. I think we're going to see the type of Patriots we saw in Brady's second year. Run the ball. Don't put a ton of pressure on the quarterback. The quarterback has to make certain plays in the game to win. Brady had to make plays at the end of that game to win that Super Bowl. But I think that's what we're going to see. And just a crazy stat, the Patriots have never lost a Super Bowl when they were underdogs.
That's considering the amount of Super Bowls they've gone to. I wouldn't know how many they were underdogs in, but that is a crazy stat.
Great.
Yeah, I agree. I think they are going to rely on that short passing game, maybe even more than the run. They'll rely on the kind of short pass because, Seattle are not an easy team to run up the middle on either. And to get to the outside, I think they can do it, but it's sometimes easier. And when you have a guy like Stephon Diggs who runs great routes, it's just you need to take care of like Nico Mamwari on top of then taking care of the defensive line as well when you're doing that kind of stuff. And Jay, on the Seahawks offensive side of the ball, we've already brought. Sorry, go on, Jay. Will he be 100%?
I was just saying, is Worry going to be 100%?
Yeah, he's coming with an ankle thing. They were pretty happy for him to go, and a shot of that. What is it called? What is it? The thing that they take all the time? That
Toradol.
Shot that Toradol seems to cure up a lot of sins. But yeah, Nico Mamwari is not healthy. Then the Seahawks defense. The reason I'm talking so much about this is Nico Mamwari is the difference maker in that Seahawks defense. The defensive plan of the Seahawks relies on Nico Mamwari because they basically put him in the place where they feel they're going to get pressured the most because he's so versatile. So if he's not 100%, then they're going to have figured out a different defensive game plan. And then Jay, on the offensive side of the ball as well, worrying about their offensive game plan here. You've already brought this up, but Jaxson Smith-Njigba, offensive player of the year, has had an incredible season. But Christian Gonzales out in that cornerback group of Pat Surtain and Derek Stingley. Christian Gonzales is the name that's often missed off because of injuries. But Jay, how do you think that matchup's going to look? Do you think it's going to be Jaxson Smith-Njigba, or do you think it's going to be Christian Gonzales that comes out on top there? Because you mentioned the matchup. Who you got winning that matchup, though?
Neither and both. I think JSN will make some plays, but I don't think he's going to have 10 receptions for 130, right? Yeah. I think this is one of those battles where it's not overall stats that's going to matter at the end of the day. It's going to be individual play battles, like who wins on third down, who wins on fourth down if they go for it, who wins on 2nd and 12, that kind of thing. That's going to be the storyline of these two.
It's can Jaxson Smith-Njigba make that one catch where Christian Gonzalez will not give him space to make easy catches. It's can Jaxson Smith-Njigba make that one catch that turns a third down into a touchdown, a fourth down into a touchdown. You're right. Can he make that one catch? And that's the big clue here. That's the problem with playing corner, right, Jay? It's the hardest position, in my opinion, in the NFL because you can absolutely lock someone up all game, and then one play, and you just look like a fool the entire time.
That's it. It's corner and offensive tackle. They never talk about you, and then when they do, it's never good.
Yeah, it's like the Seahawks in their last game. Tyreek Woolen actually had a great game. Tyreek Woolen actually played really well against a Rams team and had 2 brain-dead plays back-to-back, and now he's the worst cornerback of all time again, and he looks terrible. I think he has a part to play in this, and that cornerback room of Seattle is a huge win for them as well, with Tyreek Woolen and Witherspoon, and then Nico Momwari in the secondary as well. It's a big deal for them. But Jay, will Jaxson Smith-Njigba find it harder, and Sam Darnold find it harder as well, considering Klint Kubiack has now just been hired by the Las Vegas Raiders as their head coach? Jay, will Klint Kubiack have been distracted by taking that Raiders head coaching job during the week ahead of the biggest game of his life? Do you think there's going to be any distraction there?
So I was thinking about this, and I was going back through, and I'm like, well, it didn't affect Kevin O'Connell, but Kevin O'Connell wasn't the play caller on the offense for the Rams. That was still McVay. Like, it didn't. So as I go through, I'm like, I don't know, right? Like, you would think Kubiak's been in the league long enough. He comes from this type of coaching family that you would think that he is locked in, but you just never know. If you made me guess, I would say no. Clint's locked in, ready to go, wants the Super Bowl. But we've seen it in the past where, teams have these interviews in between the divisional rounds, and then a guy gets the job, and then all of a sudden something bad happens. That can happen either way, was because he's distracted. Here's the thing. If that offense looks like ass, they're blame Klint Kubiack for being distracted, even if it wasn't. And I don't want to get deep into this, but that's the problem with the NFL hiring rules right now is you shouldn't be able to hire a coach till the season's over, any team. I don't give a fuck if you fire him in week 1.
I agree.
You can't hire a new head coach beyond an interim until after the Super Bowl. Tomorrow, you can hire any head coach you want.
Yeah, you can't hire a new head coach if they've already got if they're already a coordinator in another team. If you want to hire, the defensive backs coach
but then
from someone, then whatever. But
I don't think so, because that puts these top guys in a bad position where they can't get interviews when they should. It puts guys going to the Super Bowl behind the 8 ball when it comes for jobs. I think they should just be like you can't sign a player until whatever March 16th or whatever the fuck it is. You can't hire a coach until the day after the Super Bowl. I don't know. That's just me. I don't want to make the Super Bowl about coaching rules, but
the week after the Super Bowl, to allow the Super Bowl guys to have their things. And Jay, I do think that's really important, because Klint Kubiack, I don't think he's going to be distracted in terms of what players am I getting for the Raiders, but he can't have his mind. He can't have his mind 100% on the Super Bowl, because where Klint Kubiack is at a real disadvantage here is actually getting his offensive coordinator and his defensive coordinator in the room. He has to be thinking about that at some point. Even if it's just 5%, 10%, because he's already on such a back foot with being hired so late, and all these other guys have been putting together their staffs, that he has to be thinking, who am I going to bring with me to the Raiders to be the defensive coordinator, to be the offensive coordinator, and even preparing for interviews and stuff like that takes up a certain amount of brain power. So you're not 100% focused on the job. Do I think it'll have a huge impact on the game? I actually don't. I agree with you. I think Klint Kubiack will just be locked into this, but it's an interesting talking point to think about.
Where you make a good point, too, is Christian McCaffrey always says everybody at this level is at the top of their game We are doing anything we can to be 1% better. 1% better.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you do the wrong things, you get 1% worse, right? Like, so he's like, 1% is all you need in the NFL to make a difference. That goes the same with coaching. So like you said, if you're even off 1%, what does that take away? Again, but I think it's a flaw in the hiring rules, but I still think Kubiak will be locked in. He's been running this team for 17 weeks. Well, more than that, but you know what I mean. 17 regular season games plus the playoffs, the preseason. Like, I think he'll be fine. But if they look bad, he is going to eat some of that blame.
Yeah, and Jay, I think this goes on really nicely to the next point in terms of, is Klint Kubiak 100%, like 110% focused on the game, like you have to be? My engineer dad is sitting next door, and if he heard me say 110%, I'm sure he'll be upset with that maths. But
it got me a little.
Yeah, I know. I was like, why you stop using hyperbole, Matty? You're not Skip Bayless. Just say 100%. It's fine. But with Klint Kubiak, maybe not 100% focused on the game, maybe only 99% focused on the game. You have then Sam Darnold on as his quarterback. Sam Darnold is coming into this game, the biggest game of his career. Still, as we discussed in the last show, it's still going to be a big monkey on his back. Will Sam Darnold choke? Can Sam Darnold handle the pressure in a big situation? Because until he wins the Super Bowl, everybody's going to just call it him choking. And maybe they won't call it him choking if he doesn't throw 2 interceptions, 3 interceptions. But how is Sam Darnold going to handle that pressure, especially with the idea that Klint Kubiak maybe isn't 100% focused on this game to allow him to get in there? Maybe they lost a day. Maybe they lost 2-3 hours of lead up time because of a Klint Kubiak interview or something like that, or a press conference or something. How is that going to affect Sam Darnold? And just general, how do you think Sam Darnold is going to deal with this pressure?
I go by the theory, you just assume guys are going to come in and play the Super Bowl like they played all until they prove you differently. Once they prove it differently, then I think Sam will play the same way Sam's been playing all year. But here's the thing. If JSN drops 4 balls, they're going to blame Sam. They're not going to blame him at the end of the day. Because 2 years from now, you'll be hearing Sam Darnold can't win the big game, even if it's not his fault, right? Like, let the defense give up fucking 7 touchdowns. It's somehow still Sam Darnold's fault that he didn't score 8, because this is how we are in the NFL. I think Sam Darnold's going to play his game. I think you won't see too much out of the norm. We have seen Sam Darnold have interception games. If he has one in the Super Bowl, it's just going to pile on. So if Sam's worried about that, that could be in the back of his head. I think this kid's been through so much in his career since he's been drafted that he probably knows how to departmentalize really well and will be fine going forward.
And obviously within that, like, players, you shouldn't listen to the media. It's just don't listen to the media. Don't listen to that kind of stuff. Just get your own head in the game. And the issue is it does just build up. Like, it is something that is going to build up. Like, if he throws 1 interception, he may go, oh, I'm going to get so blamed for that. This is going to be terrible. Everybody's going to be saying this about me in the media. But that's the difference between, you know, like us normal people and the top of the top NFL players. They know to decompartmentalize this. So I think this narrative around Sam Darnold crumbling in the big pressure moments, I think he's answered it all season. And he answered it no more than in the last game, where he had to throw for over 300 yards to come out and get a win against the now MVP, and in a decent defense as well. And he came out and he got that win. So I think he's answered those questions, and I think he will answer them going forward. Jay, the final key matchup that I want to talk about in this game is the coaching staff. We've already spoke so much about both coaching staffs, but McDonald, Klint Kubiak on one side, Josh McDaniel and Mike Vrabel on the other. Jay, who's got the edge in this coaching battle? Because obviously now Josh McDaniel is assistant coach of the year, Mike Vrabel is head coach of the year, but I imagine McDonald and Klint Kubiak were probably a close second in those categories as well.
I think that the Patriots coaching staff above and beyond has the advantage because they've been there. McDaniel's been this is his 10th, Vrabel's in his 5th. I think that experience really matters. You hear that with young players. So I think in this, and this isn't to take away from Kubiack and McDonald, and they have done great things in Seattle. I just think the edge goes to the Patriots because of experience.
Yeah, I think in the coaching battle in the regular season, I think, flip a coin, whatever. Like, I'm happy with whichever one you decide to pick. They bring different skills to the table. McDonald's defense is completely outstanding in terms of the scheme and the way that they put things together. So give that. But I agree with you. They've been there before. They know how to get their players ready for this moment. And Vrabel hasn't been there as a head coach before, but I mean, he went to the AFC Championship game with the Titans as well as a head coach, and he's been there with a player, and he's got McDaniels, who's been there with an offensive coordinator, so can kind of play off him as well. So I agree with you. The slight edge, maybe just in that, again, those 1% goes to the Patriots as well. Jay, let's get our picks in for the Super Bowl. The final pick of the year, the Seattle Seahawks are 4.5-point favorites on the spread. Who have you got in this one?
All right. I'm going with the Patriots. I think they're going to win this game. Super Bowl MVP, I'm calling it right now. Oh, by the way, 33-27. I never give a score. 33-27, Patriots, and Super Bowl MVP, Stefon Diggs.
All right. I like that. Okay. Yeah, that's Super Bowl MVP, Stefon Diggs. So you think they're going to really rely heavily on the run game and Stefon Diggs will be the MVP?
I think they're going to rely on the run game. Stefon Diggs is going to have 3 or 4 monster plays for big yardage. He'll be around 100 yards, 5 to 7 receptions, but he'll make 2 or 3 of monster plays in the game. And it's going to be one of those games where everybody's going, I'm not sure who should be the MVP, and then they're going to give it to Diggs. That's my guess.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
I just had this weird feeling last night. So that's why I got the weird score, too. That's 3 touchdowns, 3 field goals.
Yeah, 33-27 is that a scoregami in the Super Bowl?
Or maybe, 2 field goals, 3 touchdowns, 3 field goals. Yeah, 37.
Yeah.
33. I had the math. Now I just like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and Jay, for me, I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one. I've been a big fan of the Seahawks all season. I think they have a great all-round team. That injury to Nico Mamwari is... Who knew that injury to Nico Mamwari just hurt me a little bit in my decision. But no, I love the Seahawks. I love that their all-round team game. I'm going to give a score. I'll go... See, the 4.5 is actually quite a lot because actually I was just about to say I'll go 30-27 and be in the same realm as you, but actually I think 35-28 is what I'm going to go for the Seattle Seahawks. 35-28, they'll pull away with the touchdown in the 4th quarter. Super Bowl MVP Nico Mamwari. No, Super Bowl MVP Sam Darnold. Let's go. Sam Darnold will get his flowers from the MVP voters.
Does his oblique injury worry you at all? Because if Milton comes through the middle, puts his shoulder right in his stomach, just wondering.
Yes,
does it worry you?
I think that interior of the Seahawks offensive line should be good enough for Milton not to just dive straight up the middle, and Sam Darnold should be able to protect himself from that central from that center. But the oblique injury doesn't help. The Seahawks are coming in a bit more banged up than the Patriots, which obviously doesn't help. But Jay, what cures us from when we're feeling banged up on a morning and when we've had, a rough night's sleep like we always do, and because we're both of us just complete party animals and need serious help waking up every morning, what helps us and cures us is a coffee.
Me and Jay set up the Yankee and the Brit nearly 5 years ago, and in that time we've gone up to about 7 shows a week. And with the help of our loyal community, we've been able to keep growing. But we want to grow even more, and that's why just giving $5 or £5 could really help us out in our Buy Me a Coffee fund. And all you have to do is hit the Buy Me a Coffee link in our YouTube descriptions that'll be on every single video. You can give £5, $5. You can give it once, you can give it every month. And what that does is it allows us to grow and even buy ourselves a coffee every once in a while.
All right, guys. So if you want to support us more than you already are just by watching, then make sure to like, subscribe, follow, hit the bell for notifications about our upcoming shows. But a huge thing you can do is by going to the link in the description and going to our Buy Me a Coffee fund. Thank you to all those who have funded already. Or you can go to the QR code. If you're kind of watching on your laptop and you want to do it from your phone, then you can go to the QR code in the top corner. So thank you so much, guys. Jay, did you like my lead in on that one? I was pretty proud of that one. I was pretty happy.
Yeah, you look like you've done this before.
Doing a whole season. We've got a whole season behind us now with that, so that's good. Jay, let's talk about some NFL awards and let's have some quick reactions to them before going to our NFL news roundup and finishing off with some Super Bowl silly prop bets, you know, things like the Gatorade, the national anthem over under, those kind of things. Let's head into the NFL awards. And Jay, the big story is Matthew Stafford is an MVP. First off, Jay, Matthew Stafford MVP. This solidifies him as first ballot Hall of Famer, right? Or if we just lost all knowledge of what a first ballot Hall of Famer is. Sorry, Jay, you're muted. There we go.
My bad. I said you cut out. Will you repeat that?
Oh, sorry. So Matthew Stafford obviously winning the MVP is the big story. Jay, does this solidify Matthew Stafford as a first ballot Hall of Famer, or do we kind of lost what the hell a first ballot Hall of Famer is?
He better be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but after Belichick not getting in, I don't fucking know what a first ballot Hall of Famer is anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I think this does kind of solidify him in there. Drew Brees just got in as well, which was obviously a slam dunk first ballot. But I think this does put him in the first ballot, this MVP win. And Jay, we both thought it was Drake Maye who should have won the MVP. But are you happy that it was Matthew Stafford winning it anyway? Like, could you see why they've given it to Matthew Stafford over Drake Maye?
I have no problem with Matthew Stafford winning it, but I also think this kind of proves that the voting is a joke, because we've literally heard it leaked that people were like, well, this might be Stafford's last time and Drake Maye has other chances. Like, that should not have anything to do with it. They need to come up with better criteria. I don't have the answer, but what we've learned this year with voting on awards and the Hall of Fame, they got to come up with more like just definitive criteria. I don't have a problem. If you think Matthew Stafford was the MVP, I'm not going to argue with you. He had an amazing season. But if you voted for him because he's older and this could be his last chance, like that I have a problem with. I think either of these guys were fine winning the MVP. I think it should have went to Drake Maye, but not enough where I think like it was bullshit that they gave it to Matt Stafford.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they haven't given it to Drake Maye because he's young, but I think like they're both on a pretty level playing field, and they've used that criteria to give it to Stafford, which isn't the criteria that they should have used. I agree, but I'm not unhappy, and I really like Matthew Stafford as well.
The two of you who just subscribed, thank you so much. We love you for that.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Really appreciate it. Throw a comment in the chat so we can give you a shout out on the show as well. Jay, we have Myles Garrett as well, who wins Defensive Player of the Year, probably one of the biggest slam dunks in the award season. But Jay, did Myles Garrett kind of put together the best Defensive Player of the Year campaign of all time? Like, could it have been anybody else? This was surely one of the most slam dunk ones of all time, right?
It definitely, yeah, best of this year. I'm sure there's a couple Lawrence Taylor seasons people could argue or whatever, but yeah, he had the best season that I remember in my lifetime. And what makes it even more impressive is they were on a really shitty team. Like, he's on a really shitty team. There's awards being handed to a defense that had one of the most inept offenses and has a dysfunctional fucking structure at the top. So it's very impressive what they did. And somehow, and I'm sure we'll get to this, they figured out how to fuck that whole thing up in Cleveland.
Yeah, we'll definitely get onto that as well. Jay, the other one that comes up for me is like a couple of those JJ Watt Defensive Player of the Years, you know, where it's like kind of saying like, hang on, can we award MVP to a defensive player? You know, that kind of stuff. Like LT comes into that conversation as well. But Myles Garrett, you know, he breaks the single season sacks record on a team that is struggling defensively as well, offensively as well. So good work on Myles Garrett there. Jay, one of the more surprising ones of the night I thought was Terrell McMillan. Does he deserve to win Rookie Offensive Player of the Year? We gave it to Trayvon Henderson, both of us. Like, what do we make of Terrell McMillan coming out with Offensive Rookie of the Year?
So this is what happened. This is all I can answer when I saw it. I saw it come through my feed. I went, wait, what the fuck? And then I went, nah, that kind of makes sense. Kind of makes sense. He's just been forgotten because the Panthers are the Panthers. But he had a really good year. I know he had over 1,000 yards. I have no idea how many times he had. But and he played great. That this rookie class, there was 4 or 5 guys that were so close that whoever they picked, it wasn't like the wrong decision. There was a few guys that could have got it. They went this way. Wouldn't have been my choice, but wasn't mad at it.
Yeah, and I think with Terrell McMillan, it's like, okay, like Trayvon Henderson, who we gave it to, only really came into his own in the second half of the season. Terrell McMillan was the number 1 wide receiver in a playoff team from the jump. And the playoff team was the Carolina Panthers as well. So with Bryce Young there, he's the number 1 wide receiver immediately. So I get it. The place where I start to like question it a little bit is Terrell McMillan had less yards than like Wan'Dale Robinson on the New York Giants. And obviously Jaxson Dart is there. And Jaxson Dart, and when they had that start of the season buzz before all the injuries, Jaxson Dart really brought new life into an entire organization. And I don't mind giving it to Terrell McMillan over Jaxson Dart. It's just that's the person that I would put up if we're talking Terrell McMillan there as well. But Jaxson Dart had a great season as well, and so did McMillan.
And don't get me started on Robinson, because I've been beating the drum for that kid all year. So people need to start realizing next year the Giants are for real with Robinson and Neighbors, like for real.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Jay, Carson Schlesinger won the Rookie Defensive Player of the Year from the Cleveland Browns. Jay, I actually thought this was a really great pick. I feel like he was one of the more underrated rookies going in to this process, but every time you looked at the Browns, Carson Schlesinger kind of did pop from the screen. Nico Mamwari is better and had a bigger impact on his team, in my opinion, but I do like that they went with Carson Schlesinger here.
No, this is one of those, when they said it, I was like, you know what? Maybe Maddie and I are wrong. Maybe they got this one right. Maybe. Like, it made me question, right? So it's not a bad decision, because if it made me question the pick, then there's some validity to like how good he was, but he just got overshadowed because it's the Browns and you're playing with Myles Garrett.
Yeah, and I think what Carson Schlesinger did actually when I first saw him picked is I went, oh shit, yeah, he's a rookie. Like he plays such a solid game and gets to places where he needs to be all the time, plays really great in the linebacker position that I almost forgot he was a rookie. That's how kind of, you know, just like grown up football he plays from a position of leadership.
156 tackles, which led the rookies in the NFL, 67 solo, 89 assisted, 2.5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, 9 quarterbacks hits, 2 interceptions, and 3 passes defended. That's pretty good rookie stat line.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. And the other thing is, actually, the rookie that most people were putting up for the Cleveland Browns was Mason Graham. So he wasn't even the like star rookie defensive player on his own team. which makes me really like this pick even more because the NFL looked past that high draft pick, high impact play guys and just went, this guy is the leader of his team and playing huge plays. So I really like this pick. I thought that was a smart pick from the NFL. I think Nico Mamari was a little better.
And we'll double down on this later, but do you realize how bad the Browns fucked this up because of all the defensive players we're talking about?
Yeah, they've really messed up their organization, and we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Jay, Christian McCaffrey won Comeback Player of the Year. Jay, do you know what? I didn't even get us to pick a Comeback Player of the Year last week because I legitimately just thought it's going to be Christian McCaffrey, and there's not really much else we can say other than Christian McCaffrey. Anybody else that it could have been other than Christian McCaffrey?
No, because Christian McCaffrey literally could have been an MVP because he like we said, he is the 49ers offense, especially after all the injuries. So I don't know. There isn't a better pick because Christian McCaffrey proved once again that he was the best running back in the NFL.
You know, like if someone said Aaron Rodgers, I would have been fine, but Christian McCaffrey was just the best player or carried his team to the playoffs at points as well. So yeah, Christian McCaffrey had to be.
Rodgers didn't have the stats, right? Like Rodgers didn't have the stats. Like there was never a game that I went, oh fuck, Aaron Rodgers went off. Like, you know, but there's games you and I have watched and we're like, oh, Christian McCaffrey just took that game over.
Yeah, like he was the difference for some of those 49ers games. Like he was the only one that was making a difference for the 49ers in that one. And then Jay, we've already spoke about it, but Vrabel is coach of the year, Josh McDaniels, assistant head coach of the year. Can anybody feel slighted by that? I feel like you could have gone either way with the two Super Bowl contending head coaches, but Mike Vrabel takes
Ben
this
Johnson
team from, what was it, like 5 wins last year to the Super Bowl. So yeah, Mike Vrabel makes sense to me. Mike Vrabel makes sense to me, but yeah, Ben Johnson, I agree with you. Anybody else that you would like to throw into the mix that you think was maybe a better coach?
No, I don't think anybody was better. I think Vrabel deserved to win it. I just meant those are the guys in the mix that if anybody's going to feel like maybe Ben Johnson feels like I should have won it. Maybe McDonald feels like he should have won it. Not mad at them if that's how they feel or if somebody else feels that way. But to me, hands down, Vrabel. But, you know, part of why I think not that why he wins the award, but why people are so quick to say Vrabel is not only is he a great coach, like that's a football dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you hear Vrabel talk, that's a football guy. Like he eats, breathes, sleeps. He played football. He won Super Bowls. Like this dude is such an icon of the NFL from when he played to coaching to just as a personality. Like, of course, Vrabel's going to win it over anything that's close, but I think he deserved it.
Yeah, I agree. I think giving both of the coaching awards to the New England Patriots, I think maybe a bit overkill when the coaching feels so close this year. When you have, you know, when you have Kyle Shanahan.
I was just going to ask.
Sorry, go on.
Nope, you're answering. Go ahead. You're answering the question I was about to ask. I just realized it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So your potential your assistant coaches as well. So you have Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh, I think, did an actually amazing coaching job of a team that was going through injuries and possibly a worse roster than these guys. The coaching job at the Panthers was pretty good with Dave Canales, like deserves a shout out as well. But then you have McDonald and Klint Kubiack, like you could have split on one of those as well. So I feel like there were a couple of guys out there that maybe deserved a shout out, and you gave both to the Patriots. And to be honest, respect the NFL awarding committee for not letting, can we give both of these to the Patriots, cloud their judgment. They just picked the two guys who were best for that.
I think Vrabel deserves to win it. I don't think he should have been the one. So then my question just comes, who do we think was better than McDaniel? I don't think there was one. I think people did great, but I think McDaniel has done amazing shit. So I think they got it right. And so, like you said, shout out to them for not worrying about them both being on the same team.
Yeah, definitely. And JD, you know what? I thought I was going to feel way worse about them and who they selected when I saw that we basically disagreed on every single one apart from the slam dunk one, so Myles Garrett and Christian McCaffrey. and we disagreed with the rest. But and Jaxson, Smith-Njigba, obviously as well. And we agree with the rest. But I think the NFL made good decisions like across the board here. Like I can see their rationale. The Drake Maye, Matt Stafford one is a bit of you just picked the wrong criteria to say out loud why you did it. You could have just picked a different criteria to say out loud when you did it. You could have said, well, Drake Maye had the best coaching staff in the NFL and Matt Stafford. I mean, he did have Sean McVay, but you could have gone for a different rationale. That's the only problem that we have. Okay, let's move on to some NFL news. And Jay, we already spoke about Klint Kubiak's effect on the potential Super Bowl. But Jay, is Klint Kubiack the best hire that the Las Vegas Raiders could have hoped for?
I mean, he's definitely up there. I mean, I don't know why they didn't go. I think Stefanski would have been a better hire, but that's just me. So there's probably a ton of people who disagree with me. So yes, they made a great hire. Like I can nitpick what I thought to whatever, but for them, for stability, and I think you went with an adult who's an offensive mind, and I think that's exactly what you needed to do because you're going to bring in Mendoza, who is super accurate and super athletic, but he comes from an RPO, so there is a lot of growth that has to happen. But when I see him in interviews, that kid seems like he is that guy, like he is ready for it. The moment's not too big, very intelligent, and I love the fact that he's kind of a nerd, but his teammates love him. So he's not like the awkward nerd, right? So yeah. I think he's good. I think it's great. I think we're going to see really good things moving forward. Raiders fans should be excited, but it is going to take a couple years. And now with the rumor that Howie Roseman has already worked out a trade behind the scenes for Max Crosby, we'll see if that's true, and we'll see where that goes.
Obviously, like. let's just. No,
I don't know if it's true. That's just rumors on the internet. So I'm really interested to see if that's some bullshit clickbait or if this is really happening. Because most of the time, I just think bullshit. It's clickbait. But when Howie's name's in it, I'm like, might be true.
It's okay. Howie Roseman's somehow gonna get Max Crosby on one side, Myles Garrett on the other, and still be able to keep Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis up the middle as well. Like he'll be able to do that, and all he'll have to trade is like AJ Brown's second cousin. Not even, that's all he'll have to trade for. But yeah, sorry, Eagles hate aside. Klint Kubiak for me is the Ben Johnson hire of this season, where it's like, okay, we know that Klint Kubiak is going to be a slam dunk in terms of his ability to offensively scheme, and we know he's like a grown up and like the job probably isn't too big for him. It's how is he able to make it translate into the head coaching role, which is the question we had with Ben Johnson at the start as well. It's how was he able to make it go over into the head coaching role. So I kind of like this hire from the Raiders. Stefanski was off the table because he went to Atlanta. I don't know if that means he turned the Raiders job down. You would imagine that they probably gave the job to Stefanski first. You would hope like they tried to get Stefanski first, but he's gone to the Falcons.
Sounds like they didn't want it.
Yeah, maybe they just wanted Kubiak over him, which I mean, got to be a confidence boost for Kubiak. But I agree with you with what they have with Mendoza.
To be
I
fair,
think Mendoza comes in as a grown-up immediately too.
To be fair, maybe they looked at it like we get Gary Kubiak too, his dad. Yeah. Like you're not hiring him, but it's Clint's dad. Yeah. He's a Super Bowl backup quarterback. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. He's done great things in the league. So maybe they're like, we get 2 for 1. And Kubiak's great, but we get the greatness of his father along with it.
Yeah, you get Kubiak squared, right? And I think with the sorry, I'm proud of that one. Just give me a sec. But with
it was good. I actually was going to credit you, but I was waiting until you were done. But it was good. No, it was a good
one. I'm always reluctant to kind of say, oh, this great player says this greatest of all time because of what happened with Michael Jordan and the Charlotte Hornets, right? But with Tom Brady in the hiring process with the Raiders, he knows what a good coach looks like and he knows what a good quarterback looks like. And Tom Brady seems to have signed off on Klint Kubiak and signed off on Mendoza as well as their first overall pick. So I think that's a big plus for the Raiders. With coaching hires, it's difficult to know how they're going to work out immediately. So it's important not to go too far one way or too far the other. But this one feels like it's more on the positive side, and I can see why they've done it.
So I just want to bring this up quick. So it's funny you said that about Brady. A friend of mine and I were having a conversation just a couple days ago about how like hiring great players to be coaches never works because you're like, hey, do what I did. And the dude's like, I can't do what you did, motherfucker. Like, I can't do it. The difference is Brady wasn't the most talented. Brady wasn't the most skilled. Brady did it by intelligence, by hard work, by study. Like, he might be the perfect, like, elite player to do the job he's doing. And Elway did a pretty good job.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the other key there is like they're not in the coaching role, right? Like they're in the process
Correct.
of, you know, like they're just giving their advice to what a good organization looks like. They're like, this is what works for players, and these are the types of coaches, these are the types of quarterback that are really good. And I agree with you. In soccer, it's always it's never the best players in the world that make the best coaches either. It's always like the hard-working, defensive-minded, tactically minded player who was never fast enough to score all the goals, but he was thereabouts the entire time. It's always them that make the best managers and coaches as well. And it's the same in any sport, because you're right. If Aaron Rodgers went into any form of coaching, like in next year, he would just be saying, why can't you just flick this sidearm 50 yards down the field? And it's like, because I don't know. Like Patrick Mahomes is never going to be a head coach. You know, Patrick Mahomes won't be a coach either, because he just does things that other guys can't do. Whereas I agree with you on Brady on that one. So that's a good sign for Klint Kubiack. Jake, Kirk Cousins, it has been told, will be officially cut by March because that is the deadline, or just after March, because that's when he needs to be cut for cap purposes. He's going to be cut. He's not in Atlanta next season. Jay, he's also doing the Super Bowl coverage in the UK, and he did last year, and he was really good. He does the Super Bowl coverage for us in the UK, which is a lot of fun. Where is his next destination going to be? Where is he going to be playing next year, Kirk Cousins?
It's weird because so as a Vikings fan, all I keep seeing is Kirk's coming to back up JJ, which I don't think that's happening. I actually thought that Stefanski would try to keep Kirk in Atlanta.
Yeah, me too.
To play, but they might have been like, we're bringing you in to fix Penix. That might have been why Stefanski was hired too, right? So then you don't keep Kirk. So then you look around the league and you're like, where is Kirk an upgrade? Well, he's an upgrade in Cleveland, but do you want to play in Cleveland? Now, like if Stefanski was still there. So my answer is, if Rodgers does not come back, he is a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Yeah, and I think with Kirk, I think this is an important move for him, because I do think it's one of those moves where he's obviously an upgrade for the New York Jets. He's obviously an upgrade for the Cleveland Browns. Depending on how
I always
progresses.
Nobody wants to play for the
why
Jets.
the hell? Yeah, why the hell would you move there for like your last couple of seasons in the NFL? Like, surely you would rather go sit on the bench somewhere in the hope that you get playing time, you know, rather than going to Cleveland or rather than going to the Jets. Look, Indy is the one for me. Whenever I think about it, I'm like, yep, Indy are just going to try and do exactly the same with what they did with Daniel Jones, and they're just going to pick up Kirk Cousins.
See, I got Malik Willis going there. Again.
Yeah, you like Malik Willis there as well, or you know, like maybe Arizona, but I have a sneaky suspicion they're going to stick with Jacoby Brissett, like while they go there as well, and they kind of like.
What do you think of that? Third round pick is what I guess the asking price for Kyler Murray is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm biting. I'm going straight in there with a third round pick for Kyler Murray. If I'm the Browns,
Cleveland,
if I'm most teams, if I'm the Browns, I'm going in with a third round pick for Kyler Murray. If I'm most teams without a top 15 quarterback, you know, like that's where you've got to be, because Kyler Murray on his day is a top. top 10, top 5 guy, like on his day. Like he's ridiculous.
Maybe if you're the Jets, you get him for a 4th since you got such a high pick too. Maybe you can finagle that, or a 4th and a 7th or something. I don't know. It's crazy though, because I thought they'd ask for more. But all right, I don't have to turn the Kirk Cousins into Kyler Murray. I saw that this week. A 3rd round pick is wild.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Kyler Murray to the Atlanta Falcons just makes too much sense to me as well, and especially with Kirk going, it just makes so much sense to me, because for me, like Penix, see, it's a problem with the politics of the NFL right here, and it's the reason why Kirk getting cut is also wrong. So it all kind of ties together. But the problem with the politics of the NFL is these GMs are wanting to keep their jobs, so they're making calls that aren't actually in the best interest of the team, because they're trying to keep their jobs, or the guys involved with scouting Penix, the guys involved with picking Penix, want Penix to work out. They need Penix to work out, and they also want to do it to save face. Like everybody's so worried about saving face, when really we should be saying, look, let's not double down on a mistake. Michael Penix is a mistake. When Kirk Cousins came in and you played better football with Kirk Cousins in there, once he got up to speed after an injury, like they looked much better with him in there. They'll look loads better with Kyler Murray in there. And if you could get him for a 3rd round pick, then that makes loads of sense. You could ship off Michael Penix to someone who feels like Michael Penix could be an upgrade for them. Like, look, a straight trade to the Cardinals with Penix and Kyler Murray, I don't think is a terrible idea for either team. Like, because at least with the Cardinals, you have Jacoby Brissett and you see what happens, but you also have Michael Penix there to sit a couple of years. But Michael Penix isn't the guy that you want to sit for a couple of years as well. So, there's a market out there. And I think keeping Penix is the problem with the Falcons.
You bring in Kyler for a 3rd and you trade Penix for a 5th. That's really not that bad. You just swapped picks. Pretty much.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like you bring in Kyler for a 3rd, you swap Penix to the Colts for a 5th, Penix will
or to the Browns or the Jets or whoever. Yeah.
Yeah. The way that those guys, by the way, the way the Browns and the Jets are going to pick up, I think the Browns should stay with Shedeur Sanders for another year. But like the way that the Browns are going to, the way that the Browns are going to make, or the way that the Jets are actually going to get a quarterback is by trade, where the player doesn't actually really get a decision on where they go. That's the only reason that the Jets are going to get a quarterback out of this situation too.
This just popped in my head, though, and it depends what the coaching staff thinks. But if you think Penix has got potential, looks like Stafford's coming back probably just for one more year. He said he's coming back. It looks like it's one more year. Do you bring in, for a low pick, do you bring in a guy like Penix if you're McVay and sit him behind Stafford for a year and see what you got, and maybe you got your next franchise guy? I mean, there's a lot of options for Falcons. I didn't even think of Kyler to the Falcons, though, but when you said that, I like it.
Yeah, and I think Kyler to the Dolphins makes a lot of sense. It looks like the Dolphins are moving off Tua Tagovailoa as well. But
I guess they want Malik Willis also.
Short quarterback. Yeah, they'll want Malik Willis. Do they want to go with a short quarterback? And they've got their head coach down there has ties with Malik Willis. But even the Rams, the Rams taking Kyler Murray, although the Cardinals aren't going to or shouldn't trade within division for that. The final destination that I thought of, Jay, for Kirk Cousins is the Cincinnati Bengals. So going and backing up Joe Burrow, who, Joe Burrow is
they're going to need us
happy. Will he still be there?
He'll be backing up J.J. McCarthy. In Cincinnati
Bengals as well. Will Joe Burrow still be there? Well, get Kirk Cousins up there, steady, have a nice steady hand, steady the ship, because even if Joe Burrow stays, he rarely plays every game of the season as well. So then you get Kirk Cousins, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Will the Bengals do something that makes a lot of sense? No, probably not, but we'll see. Jay, we're also going to go to the Dallas Cowboys.
Cincinnati, everyone. Joe Burrow staying.
Yeah. He's 100% staying, so going and backing up Kirk Cousins. Jay, we'll go on to the Dallas Cowboys now, because they've decided to franchise tag George Pickens. Jay, are the Cowboys just setting themselves up again for the same cycle that they've been falling into with Dak Prescott, with Micah Parsons, with Zeke Elliott? It's this franchise tag, and then they push the franchise tag, and then they can't get the guy signed at the end. Is this a bad move or a good move for the Dallas Cowboys?
okay, this is going to be counterintuitive to everything I said all season, but the way the season ending, this is probably the best move for the Cowboys, just because we saw George Pickens turn into George Pickens again at the end of the year with some weird actions. And I don't want to say it was like he was a team destructor, because he wasn't, but it was weird. And it's shit that George Pickens can't be doing. And either the Cowboys are worried about that, or maybe they're going to franchise him. A lot of teams do this. You just franchise him to work out a deal. And by saying it now, you're just letting everybody know, like, he is not going to be on the market. Like, you know what I mean? We're either going to work out a deal or he's going to play under this tag. Or maybe Jerry's just going to tag him and see if he can trade him. I don't know. But I thought they should have signed him in the middle of the year. But after the way it went down at the end of the year, I'm not sure you give him big money, because he's going to want $35 million plus.
Yeah, I think this is a little different to the cycle that we've had previously, because with George Pickens, it's like, you know, if we only get one more season out of George Pickens, it's like, okay, we still have CeeDee Lamb. You know, it's like he's the second wide receiver on this team, and he played better ball than CeeDee Lamb at points in the season, but CeeDee was injured. CeeDee Lamb's the better all-round wide receiver. George Pickens is more of that X factor guy. And as you say, sometimes he can be a problem in the locker room. I don't think he was anywhere near as big of a problem in the locker room as what he was made out to be in Pittsburgh by the media. He wasn't that for Dallas. We didn't see that. There were a few things towards the end of the year which weren't great. Obviously, him and CD went out gambling and were out until 2 a.m. the game before playing against the night before playing against the Raiders, and they had to sit the first drive and that kind of stuff as well. But Pickens is great for the Dallas Cowboys. He's not necessarily the long-term option for the Dallas Cowboys. So I don't hate franchise tagging him here. And I do think it's franchise tag to sign the deal, because George Pickens is the kind of guy who you imagine can get his head turned by other teams coming in and basically making the Cowboys move their bid up and up and up. Whereas if you franchise tag him, you say, you're going to be here. Do you want to be a Dallas Cowboy longer than this? Because if you do, let's work out this deal now. And it gives you loads more time to work out the deal. So I think it is better than normal. Than what I think it's better than what the Dak Prescott situation and the Zeke Elliott situation and all of those kind of things as well. So I think it is better with George Pickens than that. And Jay, finally, the topic you wanted to speak about, the Cleveland Browns fucking this whole thing up. There's no better word for it. How bad is Jim Schwartz's resignation for the Cleveland Browns?
I've been saying they should have just gave him the fucking job. Like, they're like, oh, they want the best of both worlds. You're not going to get the best of both worlds. He is going to be pissed off. And maybe he could have stomached it if you would have brought in a young, hot offensive coordinator type, but you didn't. You brought in another old guy, and you bring in another old guy when you already got an old recycled guy right there who has you having the number one defense in the fucking league. Now you screw up the one side of the ball that you were amazing at, and you don't know that this next guy is going to come and get the same out of all these elite players you have, but you knew Jim Schwartz would. So you took the only thing you had going for it and made that a question mark.
Yeah, and it's also causing a rift again between the players, because Myles Garrett, he wasn't happy. He then comes and gets this massive deal, then ends up getting the sack record, single season sack record for any player in the next season after signing that deal. And you think, okay, Myles Garrett's happy. Now you fire his guy, like you don't hire his guy and basically force his guy into a resignation. Like, I agree with you. I think if they brought in a Klint Kubiack, then fine. You know, like maybe Jim Schwartz can say, okay, well, I'm going to still be the head coach of the defensive side of the ball, in the same way that like Robert Saleh's really happy. Robert Saleh's really happy with Kyle Shanahan because he's his side of the ball, or the same way that Brian Flores is happy with Kevin O'Connell because Brian Flores gets to be the head coach of his side of the ball. You bring in an old guy, he's going to want to control the entire team. If you bring in a young, inexperienced guy, Jim Schwartz still gets to be his side of the ball head coach as well. So you've kind of forced them into a resignation here. Like, it's again things like saving face. Jim Schwartz has basically decided, I don't want to do this so much. I'm willing to take away a year of getting paid and a year of coaching in the NFL just to sit on the sidelines because he can't go be a coach anywhere else. Otherwise, they have to give up trade capital to the Cleveland Browns as well. And he hates this decision so much. And you've caused a rift. Now, Myles Garrett isn't happy either. And I agree, Jay. You've basically stuffed your team. And it's a bigger problem with the Cleveland Browns where they haven't been able to get the offensive side of the ball right for so many years. And they've had an amazing defense for all of that time. And it leads back, Jay, to getting rid of Baker Mayfield for Deshaun Watson. It's the whole thing.
No, I agree. We've talked about that a ton. That's where this whole thing started. It looked like they had finally turned a corner. They brought in Stefanski. They had Mayfield. It looked like things were going in the right direction. And Jimmy Haslam figures out how to fuck that whole thing up.
Yeah, and again, Jay, it's oligarchical owners destroying stuff for the people who want their team to do the best. It's owners who just decide, and I'm the guy, it's my team, throwing their toys out the pram. I have billions, so I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. And it's that destroying stuff for the team again. And it's difficult to watch for a lot of teams. You see the same in Cleveland, in Cincinnati, in New York. It's these guys again and again and again. That's the reason we have a league of parity. There shouldn't be teams that are regularly terrible, and there's only one thing that stops the parity, and it's the owners at the top making terrible decisions over and over again. And the Cleveland Browns have done it by getting Jim Schwartz to resign. Okay, off my soapbox. Sorry, everyone. Jay, we'll finish off with some prop bets, some of the stupid things that you can bet on just at Super Bowl time. And Jay, let's start with the coin toss, heads or tails?
Always heads, always.
Always heads. Right, I'll go with the tails then. Funnily enough, Jay, they're the same odds, whether you pick heads or tails. My favorite bet and the thing I like to look out for
the crazy thing is, we made this a math show. Your odds never change. It doesn't matter if it lands 1,000 times on heads. The odds for it to land on tails never changes.
That's what people don't get about ratios and stuff like that. It never changes. But Jay, my favorite bet that is to do with the Super Bowl over and over again every year is the Gatorade color. It's genuinely, Jay, I think it's one of my favorite things about America. The fact that you bet on the Gatorade color that's going to be poured over the winning coach. We have orange as the favorite at +2.5. Blue is a +250. Sorry, blue is also +250. Yellow, lime, and green is +275. Purple is +700. Red is +750, and water/gear is +1,100. What you got?
So my head said orange right away when I thought of this question, but my gut said red. I know it's the long shot. Give me the long shot. We're going with the red Gatorade.
I've seen a lot of people on the
orange is the best, by the way.
Do you know what, Jay? I don't think I've ever had a Gatorade in my life. I think I might have had a blue one, but it will taste different here. The sugar levels are different.
Gatorade Zero, orange. This was orange.
All right. That looks like the clear to me, but no, I'm joking.
It's empty. It's empty. It was orange.
What's always quite funny is the fact that NFL players regularly come out and say, "Yeah, we never drink Gatorade on the sideline." Like they're like we have special mixes of all of that. Like we have special electrolyte mixes now. Like we're not allowed to just fucking drink Gatorade. Jay, I'm gonna take purple. Purple's fun. We'll go for the purple one.
Has there ever been a purple Gatorade at a Super Bowl? That's the question.
I feel like I might have seen one. They haven't had red for a long time. I remember reading that today. What's funny about this bet, my dad pointed this out to me. What's funny about this bet is that someone will know the answer to this already. You know, like most bets, you don't actually know the answer to, apart from like WWE. But someone will know the answer to this already. And it is amazing that there is a limited amount of insider trading on the color of Gatorade.
Kansas City in 2024 was purple. Kansas City in 2023 was purple. New York Giants 12 was purple. and Tampa in 03 was purple. Those are the 4 times that purple has been dumped on people in the Super Bowl.
All right, 2 in the last. What's that? 2 in the last 3 have been purple, and purple is plus 700 at a long shot as well. Jay, what about which Bad Bunny song is gonna come up first?
Hold on, Maddie.
Let me get down to that.
The last time red was used in a Super Bowl was in a New England Patriots win in 2019.
Oh, it's destined. Jay, it is destined to be red. I'm jealous of you picking that red now. Okay, Jay. This is so stupid that you can bet on this stuff. It's amazing how much money people make from the Super Bowl. But Jay, Bad Bunny's first song at halftime. I'm really excited for Bad Bunny being the Super Bowl halftime show. I listen to his music so much when we're in Colombia. Every single time you walk into a club, a Bad Bunny song is playing. So I'm very, very excited about Bad Bunny being the artist today. And Jay, who do you think is going to, what do you think is going to be the song that he goes with at the start?
Okay. I don't know shit about Bad Bunny's music, the guy who hosts the playlist. But Payne and I were talking about this, and we came to a consensus the other day. And it's, I got to look it up. It's in my phone. Hold on. I got it right here. I am going to say this so wrong. So I apologize to every Spanish-speaking person in the world ahead of time. Titi me pregunto.
Titi me pregunta. Yeah. I was going to go for. Okay. I was going to go for that one as well. Titi me pregunta is the perfect.
Payne just told me it's his most famous song.
Yeah, and it's the perfect start-off song. The way it comes in is actually just it's a build suspense type of song as well. So I think it'll be that too. It's the favorite to win in the betting markets as well. But I imagine that means he'll come out with something different. If everybody's expecting that, but it is just
maybe he'll end with
song.
that.
It's the one that they start up. It's a start-off song. I think he'll end with Nuvayol. Yeah, that's how that's said. Let's pretend that either of us speak any decent Spanish whatsoever. Okay, Jay, and the final one is the national anthem over-under. DraftKings have the over-under set at 117.5 seconds.
It's going to be under. Charlie's quick to the point. I like his music. Him and Wiz Khalifa. That's how I first found him. But he's quick. He's to the point. He doesn't drag out. And the last time he sang a national anthem, it was under by 6 seconds. I'm going with under.
Yeah, I think under 17.5 as well. He doesn't do a lot of riffs in his singing and that kind of stuff as well. He's just good. It's just good. He doesn't need to worry about riffs and all of that kind of stuff.
Does it matter? Does it matter that the last 4 have went over 2 minutes?
The last 4 was some of the most obviously going to be over ever, by the way. As soon as they started, it was oh, shit, yeah. Wait, we're not even through the first line.
Which singer repeated the same verse, too? I don't remember that. They got screwed up and repeated part of the national anthem. Oh, I forget who that was.
Whoever it was 2 years ago, there was some sort of gospel / country singer, right? Oh, yeah, they were the most obvious.
Yeah, I don't remember. I just remember watching it and hitting the group chat. And as I'm typing, did they just fuck that up? Hitman's did they just fuck that up? So I was okay, if we're both asking, they just fucked that up.
Yeah. Jay, I'm going to be watching the British coverage. I'm going to be watching from a pub. There is a pub down the road that is doing a Super Bowl show, which means it is a pub that is staying open until 4, which is very different for a pub. And you have to book it ahead of time. And there's going to be plenty of people to watch the game with actually in a pub in the UK, which is really exciting. It's my first Super Bowl party, which I'm really, really excited about. The pub that we're going to normally closes at midnight. So it's going to be fun.
Do you have laws on how your pubs have to close at a certain time? So it's state to state in the United States, but Wisconsin on weekdays got to close at 2 and 2:30 on weekends. Can't be open past that. Do you guys, the only day that's an exception is New Year's Eve. Do you guys have any rules like that to when they have to close?
I think it used to be 11, and most pubs still close at 11 because we obviously have a difference between pubs and bars. So pubs and bars are different.
Oh, okay.
So like bars can stay open. Okay. Bars can stay open forever, but public houses, pubs, like usually close at 11, and then you have to go to a bar that closes at. In York, it's usually 2 a.m., but they can stay open until 4, 5, 6 o'clock.
Our laws are just about serving alcohol, right? So it's not distinguished between a bar or a pub. Now in Illinois, like in Chicago, anywhere in Illinois, they just have to close for 1 hour a day. They get to choose which hour they close for. Most close between like 4 and 5 or 5 and 6 a.m. So if you really are a partier in Chicago, you can just keep going all night long.
Yeah, in ours change only in Scotland. So in England and Wales, and I don't know what the law is in Northern Ireland, but in England and Wales, you can just buy alcohol at whatever time. It doesn't matter. That's fine. In Latvia, they've just stopped. You can't buy alcohol in shops after 8 o'clock. In Scotland, you can't drink. You can't be carrying drink outside after 10. Like you can't buy alcohol in the shops after 10 o'clock. Which means, but you can't have it outside, so you can't be in like the beer garden of a pub with a pint. You can't have like it outside. You have to be in the pub, like with your drink and stuff like that. So you can still be drinking in the pub till whatever time. You just can't have it outside and like visible.
Since we're turning into the alcoholic podcast, 2 weird ones for you. So in Wisconsin, you can't buy alcohol after 9 p.m. unless it's beer or wine, then you can buy it till midnight. And in Minnesota, you can't do any carry-out alcohol from anywhere on a Sunday.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think, so normally this pub would close at like, on weekends, it closes at like 1, 2. I think this is like a pub/bar, so it's found its way around. I think there is some different licensing laws. It's had to apply for like a permit to stay open until 4 or 5 o'clock, but they're allowed, and that's great, and it's going to be very exciting. The issue is that American football fans in the UK can be a bit of a mixed bag. It can usually be like normal people and stuff, but it there's also like quite a high chance that they're like gamers that are just happy staying awake till like 6 a.m, and they just smash energy drinks and kind of.
So you're just gonna
so we'll see.
You're gonna get some ruffians. Or as I seen the new thing, I don't know if this is new, but new to me, from the UK now, is the younger generation has been saying they're hoodlums. The older people are hooligans, and it's now hoodlums versus hooligans.
Total hoodlums. Maybe we'll see.
I watch way too much British shit, by the way.
You really do, man. Like when you knew what pleb meant the other day. Yeah, when you would, because I got called pleb online. Yeah.
I only knew because I watched this show some years back and they kept saying it, and I literally had to Google it, and I had to Google like English slang pleb, and then it gave me the word and what it meant, and I literally read it and go, that's really a fucking an insult? I was like, y'all, if that's how y'all are insulting each other, y'all need to step your game up, because that's not even really an insult.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said to the guy who called me. I was like, well, actually, it comes from, and then I gave him a history, which is another good way to win an argument. Actually, saying
I had somebody call me dumb the other day while misspelling. I had somebody call me dumb the other day while misspelling everything in their fucking response. I just hit him with a laughing face and said, 3rd grade English class would do you well. And I just left it at that.
Not that we get into arguments online all the time, guys. Obviously, we're better people than that.
It's always sports shit for me. It's always sports shit for me, because I used to get into the other arguments. As I've gotten older, I'm done arguing with people, because you're never going to change anybody's mind online anyway. Yeah. So I'm just done. But the sports one, I find fun. I think it's crazy when people get personal in sports debates. I think that is so weird. Debates.
It's a weird problem.
It's weird.
People have. Yeah. Like, it's really strange. All right. This is the Yankee and the Brit, and I hope you enjoyed our cross-cultural talk about what's going on in the UK and the UK and the US this evening. Very exciting. But thank you so much, guys, for another great season of The Yankee and the Brit. We'll be back to review the Super Bowl. Obviously, it's not our last episode of the season, but, last game of the season and stuff. We'll count that as the next season.
Well,
but thank you so much, guys. Jay, send us out.
The last episode. It is the last episode of the season, but not the last episode of the year. So make sure you hit that notification button, hit the like and subscribe. We got 7 channels. And because I'm going to do a shameless plug, I've been doing something new for the playlist, guys. I've been doing Behind the Music, where I give you a few minutes of why the song was made. And unlike other people who give you information, I dropped the song behind it, so you don't have to go search out the song because I just gave you information. Now you're going to want to hear the song. I play the song behind it. So go check those out. I've had a lot of fun doing them. And drop in the comments what you think. And be honest. If you fucking hate them, tell me. But tell me why, because I like constructive criticism. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.
Go Pats.